Ding ding! Hello, welcome to 1111 Oracle. I do not have my Tibetan singing bowl with me today. If you are new to my channel, I usually start it off with a lovely Tibetan singing bowl sound. It's really late and I'm kind of being a night owl. I want to do a super quirky video, so I hope you guys are up for it. No pun intended. Anyway, I just have to be a little bit more quiet, so I thought I would not take out my Tibetan singing bowl just in case I would wake up people. Okay, so today's video is super quirky, and it is what we're going to do is not using any tools, and we're going to channel your alternate parallel universe self, and we're going to get a communication going between you and your parallel universe self. So it'll kind of be like a not a direct conversation, like, you who you are, sorry about that, is not going to speak directly, through me, not anything creepy like that. But I'll just like relay what those messages are, and I hope it'll feel more like you're kind of communing with your own self. So you have the ability to telepathically communicate with a parallel universe self, just like you have the ability to do many other psychic spiritual things if you practice and put your mind to it. Yeah, so I don't want to tap into you for you. That would kind of be, I don't know, morally wrong, I suppose. No one's getting possessed. So you can tap into your own self, and I'm just sort of the messenger to tap into the energies, to read the person, the situation, etc. So I'm going to open up that portal of communication for you. I feel the need to say we're going to start off this reading with just general protective energy. I do Reiki, so I'm going to start off with just a little bit of a Reiki blessing, protection sort of thingy, if you will. So here I go. I'm just drawing out the Japanese symbols in the air. And I am now infusing you all. Also through the sounds of my voice, I'm going to inject myself with the Reiki prayer I just made. And then I'm just, through my voice, I send you that healing and that protection. I hope you can feel it. Oh, protection. Okay. So, we are protected now from any being that does not come from a place of love and that does not want your highest good. Yes. So, only those beings that come from a place of love and who do want your highest good are welcome into this space. We are protected from those that do not. Okay, let's begin with the choices. So we're going to communicate with your parallel universe self, and let's see who that is. Of course, this is a generalized reading. Keep that in mind. So that being said, that it's a generalized reading, I mean, I'm going to describe general, perhaps more general characteristics and messages that will apply differently and uniquely and personally to each one tuning in, because the messages coming through from spirit are often in rhyme or code, and it's done this way just like with a set of tarot cards. Just like there can be many different interpretations on tarot cards, spirit sends sort of these, the spirit can communicate in all kinds of ways, but a lot of times the messages can be kind of cryptic and puzzle-like. So in that sense, when they're so the messages that I'm presenting to you, my messages will kind of be cryptic and puzzle-like as you communicate. And this allows you to really tap into those energies yourself, instead of, me taking away that power from you kind of thing, right? I'm just facilitating the experience, and you're going on the journey. So I hope you're excited. And let's take a look at the choices to open up your communication, I guess, with your parallel universe self. So I'm going to change the color of the room. All right. So I'm going to show you 4 colors in this main background that you see right here. So the selection is visual. And, I will say what the color kind of palette is if you are visually impaired. So anyway, here are the choices. Okay, let's see, there are going to be 4. Number 1. Whoa. Maybe a little too dark. There we go. I like that. Okay, number 1. Number 1, you are this red, fire red, and indigo blue with spots of creative orange and dashes of innocent whites. Beautiful combination of colors. That is group number 1. Okay. Now, if you don't have the best memory, then you kind of like, oh, what was the first combination? Oh my gosh. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to skip again to the beginning and have to look at it. What I would say is, just go with what feels right, or what, intuitively. Don't think about it too much. If I showed you this color combination, or you're listening to what this color combination is, and you're like, that sounds interesting, but I'm still curious if there's another one that's going to be a better fit for me, then what that tells me is that this is not your selection or your choice. You can always come back to it if you're like, oh no, it really was, and I made a mistake, of course. But if you do see this right away and you're like, oh my God, I'm so taken with it, it's just beautiful, like I love those colors so much, they draw me in, and you really feel something, or intuitively or instinctively you're like, no, I just really like that color combination, then what I would suggest is just go ahead to the timestamp below and take a listen, but really open up that communication with your parallel universe self. All right. So anyway, that is choice number 1. Choice number 2. Let's work on this one. Hold on. Number, I don't know what it is about this. Okay. All right, I don't want to say any, I don't want to influence any opinions, but something about this I really like. So anyway, this is choice number 2. Choice number 2. This is a very interesting one. It's like this. So there's a lot of kind of gray undertones. I don't know a lot about art, but it just seems like this, if I can describe the feeling, it almost feels gray, like, yet mysterious at the same time. There's some just like corners of red and gold, and then in the middle there's just this eye of this like kind of blue eye, all right, with a white pupil instead of a black pupil, and then just green framing it, and that is number 2. So I hope you like that description. Number 3. Wow. Number 3. This is beautiful, isn't it? Number 3, you're just this blue. Oh my goodness, like an indigo blue, or even splashes of like aqua in there, I think, and maybe some like silvery gray quality to it. It's just like a really beautiful, and some corners of dark navy blue faded into black, and it's just this beautiful, yeah, I love it. That is group number 3. Gorgeous. Okay, group number 4. You're all over the place, group number 4. Your parallel universe self is very interested. It's like they're leading me on. They're like, where am I? Where am I? Where am I? And this one's tricky. Oh, group number 4. Tricky. So group number 4, your parallel universe self and you are very intertwined. I don't know if you know this, but in dreams, oh my God, I'm going to spoil it. What am I doing? Yeah, group number 4, don't click this if you want to be this. Just click with what resonates for you, okay? But I'm guessing that generally speaking, if you've made it this far without making a selection, you're most probably in this group. You may not be, so just go with what feels intuitively right, if that makes sense, or whatever. So group number 4, you're always changing. You're all over the map. Here you are. I can't tell you what color you are. Your color's constantly shifting around. Alright, I'm having too much fun. Okay, let's get started. Okay, group number 1. Group number 1, let's open up the portals of communication between you and your parallel universe self. I invite you to close your eyes or keep your eyes open, or whatever feels most comfortable to you. I invite you to breathe in deeply, in and out with me. Start breathing. I won't, actually, you know what? Some people don't like a guided breath, so I'm just going to give you a moment to breathe in deeply and exhale for an even longer breath. Okay, so if you want to count, you can count in for 5 and out for 7, but I'll let you do it on your own. Do whatever works for you in regards to breathing deeply. Take your time to do that. Take about 3 breaths. I can't speak today. 3 breaths. Okay, so group 1, we are opening up the portals of communication for you and your parallel universe self. You can open your eyes when you're ready. We take deep breaths to help ground ourselves, relax our energy. When our energy is more relaxed, we can be also more receptive to that inner voice and the subtle, intuitive, psychic, inclinations and feelings that we get. Okay, so I want you to, if you want to continue with your eyes closed, you can, or you can keep them open. That's up to you. And I'm going to do this in a different, kind of interesting way. So this is part meditation, of course, to get you to communicate with your own self in a parallel universe. And this is also me channeling bits of information to hopefully help confirm the intuitions that you're getting actively. And if our intuitions are not aligned, that's okay. Always trust your own intuition first, but hopefully what I say can help confirm what you're getting. So that's why I want to do it this way. See, it could be like a fun psychic experiment. Okay, so making sure that your channel's open, you're feeling relaxed, closing your eyes or keeping your eyes open. If you're in a noisy space and you can't focus, maybe consider putting some headphones on. Otherwise, just find your inner calm within you. No matter what happens outside, it doesn't matter. Find that calm within the storm, the eye within the storm. Be the eye within the storm. I want you to imagine that there's kind of like a void in front of you, or a black hole, if you will, like in the universe, right? Like a black hole in the universe. Without it scaring you, okay? If that image scares you, choose a different one. You can imagine opening a door to another room, if you prefer. So wherever you're going, I want you to reach into that space. As you reach into that space, I want you to imagine that your parallel universe self is doing the exact same thing and sort of mirroring your actions. And so as you reach forward, you grab each other's hands. And then you meet partway in the middle. And whatever is around you just kind of cycles around you. Like you're having some kind of weird dream and everything starts moving and shaking. So if the black hole made sense to you, maybe you went into the black hole and then the whole black hole starts swirling around you or something like that. That can be an idea. And then you get kind of, all of a sudden, all of it just fades away. Maybe you're in a room, maybe you're, I don't know where you are. Everything just fades away and you find yourself in this middle space, sort of like a sanctuary, if you will. And it's a place that makes you feel calm. And interestingly enough, it also makes your parallel universe self feel calm, who is ultimately just you, but another version of you. So let's find out what you have in common and what you have not in common with each other. So go ahead and just take a moment to yourself and tap into feelings, thoughts, suggestions. Don't worry if you're right or wrong. Again, if my intuitions don't align with yours, always just take what resonates and always trust your own intuition first. And don't be so hard on yourself if you don't get stuff right away. Just allow it to flow through. All right, I'll give you some time to connect with your other self. I don't know why, but I keep getting, so keep conversing. I just want to interject. I hope it's an okay moment. I don't know where you're at in your conversation, but I just keep hearing tunnel vision. Something about you. Tunnel vision keeps coming up, and I see you sort of like trapped in a tunnel and tunnel vision. I'm not sure how that relates to you, so take what resonates. Again, I'm not going to be too intrusive in this reading. I'm going to suggest just certain thoughts and ideas, and I want you to be able to take them as you will, to interpret them according to what makes most sense to you. Right? Remember, my messages this time are cryptic, so trust yours especially. Okay, so tunnel vision keeps coming to mind. This is interesting. It's like a puzzle. It's like, okay, what's the next set of words? And it's not only going to be just 2 words at a time. You know, maybe I'll have a whole thing, a whole, sentence or paragraph or whatever to say, but I definitely want to give you time to just continue your conversation. So go ahead and continue. I'm going to continue to channel as well. Does that irritate you, that color combination? For some reason I look at it and my eyes start to sting. If you like it, let me know. Maybe I'm wrong, but for some reason I just feel like I just felt pulled to change the color of the room. So Spirit likes to communicate not just in words, but they like to use the environment as well. So you may be very clairvoyant. I'm just getting that in your parallel universe self wants to say that he, she, whoever, however you wish to identify, is very clairvoyant and very tuned into their higher self. You will be. That will be your one of your greatest accomplishments in this lifetime. Not to say your parallel universe self is more ahead than you spiritually, just that your higher universe, or your parallel universe self, so long to say, is basically more, has a simpler life than you, if that makes sense. You have this very dramatic life. There's a lot that goes on in your world. The conversation is actually interesting because I don't know if you feel soothed or reassured by your parallel universe self right now. What am I going to call this? By your other you. I'm going to say other you. I don't know. I can't think of anything better to say, but do you feel very soothed by your other you right now? Do you feel reassured meeting them? Because they definitely feel some of your anxiety, I think, and they really want to heal you. Interesting. You guys are very linked health-wise. Whatever happens to the other, or happens to one, happens to the other. I'm getting the feeling that I'm getting the feeling that you may like this combination. This is, makes sense. Green, healing. Blue is open communication. You being clairvoyant. Possibly, yes. Clairaudient, indeed. You have, interesting, very interesting. Okay, so you have different gifts that manifest differently in your than they do in the other you. So your other you is a lot more openly clairvoyant than you are. They see things all the time, and they don't always like it, but they've had a certain kind of lifestyle. You are, in a way, a little bit more practical than they are, and possibly more grounded, if anything. So it evens itself out. You have a more grounded energy than the other you. And you basically, you may have latent creative abilities, or, there's something about you that's very creative. You like to express yourself a lot. Just experimenting, even in your home, in your decor, possibly, or your clothing style, or even your makeup. There's something about you that just likes to explore and play. And your other you is telling you to keep that up, because that is where you're going to really unleash your creative abilities of being more clairvoyant, which would make sense, because that, painting and drawing, or visually doing things visually in your space, would make total sense in relation to you expressing, your artistic gifts and your psychic gifts of clairvoyance. But what you do have more strongly is clairaudience. But you don't trust your clairaudient abilities, and they're easily missed. So if you're not sure what clairaudience is, you should check out my video about clairaudience. But just to give you a quick review or summary, basically clairaudience is the ability to hear literally, or quote unquote, kind of like as if someone just dropped a thought in your mind, and you're like, where did that thought come from? Like, you may be sitting really frustrated about something, and all of a sudden you get this positive thought in your mind, and you're like, oh, make sure to just take some time for yourself today. And you're like, oh, that must be because I read that book, that, I listened to I said my affirmations today. And it could be that, for sure. But I think that what makes more logical sense to me is that you're sitting there upset, focused on one thought, and all of a sudden, pop, you receive this sort of spiritual download, and the perhaps affirmation was popping into your mind because you would recognize it. You would recognize where it's coming from. So Spirit does use what we recognize in order to catch our attention as well. But anyway, you have more clairaudience abilities if you trust the impressions that you receive in your mind, and if you learn how to weed out what's just nonsense or ego or delusion, to what is truly something related to your clairaudient abilities, then you'll be a very powerful psychic in this lifetime. So it's very interesting. In a way, your life is a little bit more kind of down to earth than the other you. I just want to give you a moment now. I've been talking and blabbing a lot. Just take another few moments to continue on the conversation. Okay. I'm just getting an interesting visual download. Like, I'm looking at the background that you see, but I see it from a different angle, and I'm looking higher up on this, Chinese divider that I'm pointing the camera at. And I feel the need to do, I don't know, just bring some life into this background. Yeah, speaking of life. Oh, interesting. So, I see a figure of a man in the, like, on top of the building, even though those are actually just sort of splotches of paint that make me think of a man, which was not the artist's intention, but that's what I see. So I'm going to take this as like linked to my clairvoyance. This looks like a very young man, blonde hair, rosy cheeks, fair skin, but take what resonates. If that image doesn't resonate, could this be maybe a past loved one that is trying to reach you, and for some reason the other you is somehow connected to perhaps the other you of this person, or the other person of that person, the parallel self of that person, or maybe they have some kind of linked message to relay. I think so. I think what makes sense might be that since the other you is so clairvoyant, they can tap into messages visually. So I'm getting a visual sign from them. They're sending me a visual image through my Chinese divider, which is interesting. And so take what resonates with that image for you. It was really interesting. I'm seeing a lot of other things. Okay, I don't know what's going on. That's kind of interesting. So anyway, so that first we'll start off with that man. It kind of reminds me of an elf. In many ways, it looks like the stereotypical Christmassy elf, but that could be, maybe like the movie Elf, maybe something with elves, maybe like Lord of the Rings. Maybe this, is just symbolic of elves in general and fairies in the land of the Fae. Or you can collect. I don't know. I can't talk. Connected to the elementals. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, the other images that I'm seeing are quite a few. There's a hummingbird. I think what resonates for some of you. There's sort of like two humanoid figures. Like if you're into star seeds, I see one that looks like, it kind of looks like it has like a whale face. It's a human body. I don't know what I'm seeing, but anyhow, there is a starseed kind of whale type humanoid being coming towards you. There's also another humanoid being that looks like, I don't know, some kind of possibly reptile or amphibian of some kind. Purple and sort of feminine looking. The other one is, the whale one is masculine looking. I see how do I explain it? Like a Sufi, or it could also be, I don't know, it makes me think of a sultan. Just like an old wise man with a white beard walking through the forest. Long cape, dark color. A turban on his head with a jewel on the front. Citrine jewel. And he's very introverted. He loves his solitude. He's very in tune with nature. He's like a shaman. And he's your ancestor? Does that resonate with you? If that doesn't, then let it go. But he's kind of insisting. Yes, he's your ancestor. So again, still take what resonates, but there's a lot of insistence there. I see just little beings peeking out of the corners. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I see. Yeah, there's something about something about a possibly could it be a past life with a woman, some in biblical times, like someone from, I almost want to say someone from one of the ancient Jewish tribes, but not necessarily the case. I just see someone kind of going to an open door in a sort of cave-like building and transforming that into a home. It's like a dark, shadowy figure behind her. It's almost like a dark soul or a negative being, and it's like this negative being followed you around and Maybe you still feel its presence, but I just feel like you're learning to cut it out, or you've recently cut it out, or it's your insecurity. It feeds off your insecurity. So the more you empower yourself, the more you believe in yourself, and the more, you surround yourself with positive vibrations. The next image is making me laugh, sorry. The more, the less you will be affected by the toxicity around you, the negative spirits or whatever. The next image I saw was like Batman, so I don't know, man. I mean, take what resonates. Batman is what I saw. Okay. I'm just going to pause there, and I'm going to, give you a little bit more time to just kind of conclude with your other you for now. All right, there we go. I hope you enjoyed that, and that was quite long. You may have the longest read. I don't think I'll have such a long read with the others. Don't tell them. Anyway, you're special, I guess. So I will read for you guys in another video. Okay. Hi, number 2. So number 2. Number 2 is interesting right off the bat. I'm connecting with your other you, and what I'm getting is that, first of all, you have a lot of energy. You or the other you, or a combination of both. Or like, if you don't have a lot of energy, you have a lot of mental energy. There's something very spiritual about you. You're very, very psychic. Very wise beyond your years, very youthful looking. You have a sort of like mischievous streak that you keep under wraps. There's something about your laugh that is just so beautiful, and your voice could just enchant the most brutal of men and women and whomever. So something about you, something very enchanting about you, and you know what, you're sort of always tapped in, tuned in to other parallel realities, whether you're tapped into all of your other selves. You're very connected. You're just not completely aware of it. You don't know how, you don't realize how tapped in and connected you are to all of your other selves. Or maybe you do, but there's so much that you just channel through all the time that you just feel like you have a big imagination and that you're quirky, or insert right-brained adjective here. You're a lot of fun, but you're different to different people. You have a tricky kind of personality to figure out. People can't quite get you. So the one self that is wanting to come forward right now is you have this beautiful fairy self. I say she right away because it's this very feminine energy, but that doesn't mean she means necessarily female. It could be male, with a lot of feminine qualities. But either way, this group, your other you is very, very feminine. You may possibly be another gender as another self. That might resonate with you as well. So I'm going to say she. And you might be a little resistant to your feminine side, or you might just identify as male. So take what resonates with you. But your other you is very, very feminine. Very beautiful, very kind-hearted, very in touch with psychic abilities. You're just always, your other you is always giggling and laughing and rolling around in the dirt, in the grass. She is a fairy. She loves to have fun and be silly. she likes to, there's like a fairy version of wine that she really likes. I don't know, take what resonates, but she likes to drink wine every now and then is what she's saying. She likes to, when she does, she likes to have fun. That's really cute. So your other you is just lovely, full of bright wisdom, not to be underestimated. She's, like I said, quite wise as you are beyond your years. There's something perhaps a little bit more serious or stern in the way you have your actual daily life. You may recognize that there's an inner silliness to you, but you just express a little bit more, not severity per se, but there's a little bit more reserve in your outer expression, in the way you represent yourself today. Okay. So with that, I'm going to change the color schema. And we're going to go with a mixture, a cross between perhaps reserved and outwardly silly. So during the time that I do this, I do want to, figure out, I have to feel out the colors. Sorry. I want to make it pretty. So as I figure this out, I want you to tap into your ability to communicate with the other you and see what she has to say. And so it's this one then. You're like a floodgate of information that you channel directly from these other parallel universes and realities and your higher self. You channel energy very easily. So easily you have no idea that you're doing it. So when other people say, oh yeah, I had this crazy experience, blah, 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 doing something, whatever, for you it might be like, really? Like, because I don't know, I didn't really experience what you did, or there's something very powerful at your core. There's you're very spiritually connected, and you have these extreme highs of feeling and thought, and a lot of other things just don't do it for you, let's put it that way. But interestingly enough, the other you really likes wine and maybe other things, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't know that. Not that I'm advocating anything. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Do you know? Was there a mother figure that was stifling for you somehow, or didn't allow you to breathe? Um, if not, did you have the opposite? Did you have a very distant mother? In a way, like, did you feel sort of like closed in at times emotionally, like you couldn't really access your inner feminine? Perhaps your mother had more masculine qualities. Perhaps some of her dominant ones were masculine, and those really shaped who you are. I don't know. Something about you distrust your feminine at times. You know, feminine, go with the flow, intuition. You distrust your feminine at times. So your fairy self is just, I don't know, just go ahead and continue channeling for a little bit. I just want you to really enjoy that conversation, see what you channel through. It's like the you in this lifetime is kind of almost more introverted, and the other you is more extroverted. And so it just goes to show you that you are also an extrovert in a different space and time, you know, so, and you're connected. So maybe you're suppressing some of your extroverted qualities. Is it possible that you may be an extrovert instead of an introvert, but different life experiences have made you feel emotionally isolated, so you felt like you had no choice but to introvert? Maybe not. Maybe you really are an introvert. But either way, the other you is more extroverted, and you seem to be more introverted. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you gain a lot of wisdom through introspection. But just remember that you are meant to shine. This is what your other you is trying to convince you of. I don't know if you're hearing those same messages as you're tuning in, or if you've heard them in other places, or maybe you keep coming across this message again and again. I don't know, let me know in the comments, but I just keep hearing, you know, you're meant to shine, you're meant to shine, you're meant to shine. Like your other you realizes that you have tremendous potential, even so much more than they have. By the way, the other you lives in another realm, fairy realm, beautiful realm at that. Very fantastical, and just, I don't know, gorgeous. You've never seen anything so beautiful before. Just really beautiful and enchanting. And your lifetime here as a human is more difficult. And yeah, your other self, or one of them at least, is just having a wonderful time as a fairy. She's reminding you to laugh and not take yourself so seriously. She is reminding you to embrace your inner feminine. In other words, to embrace the inner feminine qualities that you have. Because they're powerful and they're beautiful. And you shouldn't mistrust them, because they will guide you to where you need to be. And I hope you enjoyed that interaction, and I hope you like this video and this choice selection. Thank you for allowing me to join you on your journey of connecting with your other you. I encourage you to continue that communication with your other you. Just make sure that you psychically protect yourself through your own rituals, or you can check out my video about psychic protection if you're interested, or any other video for that matter. Anyhow, enjoy your experience, and I look forward to reading for you in the next video. Hello, number 3. Number 3. Number 3, you, okay. It's been a long day, hasn't it? Let's just take a moment to breathe, right? Okay. I'll do a guided breath, but if you prefer just to breathe at your own pace, then feel free to, you know, mute me for a few seconds or something, all right? Or fast forward a little bit, or pause and do your own breathing. I'm just feeling like the majority of the people in this group would prefer a guided breath, so I'm happy to do that for you. Seems like you've been running around in circles, so let's just kind of get settled. Please, find a comfortable position. Feel free to close your eyes or keep them open. Just find somehow that you can relax. So take a deep breath in. And release. Exhale. Deep breath in. And release. Exhale. One more deep breath in. And exhale. Beautiful. Okay. Take a moment to sit with that feeling for a bit. Let it encompass your being, your heart space. If you find yourself getting distracted by your thoughts, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and let those thoughts do their thing. Just you shift your focus, your attention from your thoughts to your heart space and that feeling of inner peace and relaxation that hopefully you're feeling right now. Or at least maybe you're starting to feel. I'm going to do an extra little bit of Reiki for you guys if you feel like you need it. I do Reiki, so I'm sending you Reiki through my voice tones. So as you hear my voice, hopefully you feel more relaxed. All right, let's go ahead and start channeling. I know you're excited to get this communication happening. Let's open the portal of communication. We invite other you to come forward. We greet them with love and respect. Okay. All right. And I just feel the need to change this color a bit. Okay. So your other self has a very I almost want to say they have like loner vibes mixed with being very popular, if that makes sense. Like they're a popular loner, like everybody wants to be their friend, but they're just like, yeah, catch you guys later, I'm just gonna do my thing. And in this lifetime people make assumptions about you that are not necessarily accurate. If people don't get you, I'm getting that you're kind of misunderstood now too. But I'm feeling your like something about the other you is a little bit more antisocial. not that you're super like extroverted, because I don't feel that either, but you're at least a little bit more social. In that respect, yeah, your other you is very interesting, a very interesting character. I really like both your energy and the other you's energy. The other you is just like very interesting. They'll just entertain a crowd and out of nowhere, and then they'll just kind of disappear, and everyone will be like, where'd they go? Or they're always like popping in and out of places. They're very much a popular loner. They don't like to be around people for too long. They're very, very introspective, and they live in their internal world. That's what's most interesting to them. Contemplating ideas and thoughts. They're very intellectual. They're very philosophical. I want to, give you the space to really connect with your other you, instead of me just kind of like telling you what your other you is like. Hopefully this resonates with you. Enjoy this moment to just kind of like connect and see how you feel afterwards. See if it resonates. All right. Now you can connect by doing whatever feels most natural to you. Just listening to music, if that kind of makes you feel comfortable. Maybe you're going to channel really interesting messages through music. If you want to turn on even like a show or something and like watch that for a bit, you may get interesting messages channeled through a show. You can draw or sing, or even just sit there and see what comes through to your mind, your heart. Just don't judge yourself. Don't expect anything. Just enjoy the ride, and I'll share what I have with you momentarily. There's something to do with an indoor-outdoor view of things. Like sometimes you feel like you're on the outside looking in. But then other times it feels like you're the one inside and everyone else is looking in. Does that make sense? You think you're very popular now too, very well liked, but you're just like, your popularity's out, like amazingly intense in this other you self. It's like the more reserved you are, the more people are just drawn by your juxtaposition of charm and wit and, something intriguingly psychic about you as well. Something about you. It's very whimsical, and people are just drawn to your energy. There's something like, I don't know. You are very interesting, my friend. And so that's especially in that other you self, but you like to make people happy, I'm feeling. Sometimes you wish you had more alone time. I would say just continue to breathe. Blech. I can't do certain sounds today. Continue to breathe through it. Continue to breathe through it. I think you'll find that by just breathing, you're going to be able to relax your energy and connect to spirit in all kinds of ways. Not just your other you, but your higher self, your spirit guides, all of that. So Your other you is encouraging you to continue breathing and not to get so hung up on, oh my goodness, I have to do all these things. Just try to take it moment by moment. They know that they're coming from a place of, in a way, they call it privilege by just getting to be a loner. But you are going to be able to find those spaces of quiet peace within yourself as you go through this journey. And it'll be very, very important that during your off times or your down times that you spend time in nature, drink a lot of water, take a lot of, rest a lot. I'm guessing you need a little bit more sleep than average, maybe 10, 11 hours a night at times, depending on how tired you are. So, respect your body, respect your mind, and take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Do the things to take care of yourself practically. Very, very important, especially for you, since you always seem to be on the go, running around. Interesting that your other self is a lot more laid back. I want you to just take a moment here to connect with your other self, and I'll be right back. Got some interesting stuff right there. Comment down below. I'd love to hear about your experience. All right, number 3. Your other you says that they're very connected to you through your thoughts. They actually act, oh my God, this is kind of crazy, but they actually kind of act like your spirit guide. They act the way a spirit guide would. They're actually insisting that they are your spirit guide in a way, which is kind of confusing, but they try to encourage you to relax. They're there to help shoulder your pain, your emotional kind of experiences and burdens, they say. So they invite you to kind of open up that telepathic, clairaudient link, or you can communicate in other ways, of course, but, just to open up that communication with them. And, even if it seems silly, like if it helps you, who cares if it's silly, right? If it helps you feel more centered and relaxed, whatever. So I invite you to communicate with, your other you and see where it leads you. All right, number 4. Number 4. Number 4. Number 4, do you have Polish ancestry, or do you have kind of Nordic ancestry at all? Could you be related to, do you have any Vikings in your ancestry, or are you interested even in Norse mythology? This keeps coming up. Your other self is a person who lives in a northern European country. The timelines are different. They don't go by the timelines that we go by. It's like a completely different time zone system from what we know in our reality. So I don't really know how to explain it. It really is like very different. You it's like your other you is this kind of like, I keep wanting to say superhero. They have these, just this way about them where they're very, they know how to help other people at the right time in the right place. They're a good citizen, and they're kind of a divine helper, very linked to the angelic realm. Is there a grandmother figure that you know that wants to communicate with you? If that doesn't resonate, let it go. It's very interesting. Take a moment just to, if you can look at this visually right now, do that. If not, then just, I want you just to try to tap into your own intuition and try to see what messages come through about your other self. Take a few deep breaths if you need to center yourself, if it helps. If not, go ahead and channel in a way that makes sense to you. But I invite you to take a look at this video right now and just see if you get any kind of images. Do you see any images in the visuals in front of you? So I'll tell you what I get, and maybe it coincides with what you got. I see Egyptian pharaoh. What is the woman called? Anyway, you are some kind of a priestess. You in a past lifetime, perhaps. It's almost like the other you in this lifetime. Okay, really interesting. I remember your energy now from the choices. I was saying you're all over the place, so this is why you're all over the place. So your other you basically shared the same body with you in a past lifetime where you were Egyptian, and somehow you split. Oh. You might have instead been the familiar or animal or pet that this other you self would have had. Take what resonates with you. But you're very linked and connected telepathically. And so kind of wherever the other goes, you guys are always connected to each other's thoughts and feelings. So sometimes you're confused about all the things that you feel. It's like your emotions and your mind is all over the place. And this is for many reasons, of course. Sometimes it could be down to simple, lack of sleep. Sleep can help regulate these kinds of things. But regardless, you tap into all kinds of thoughts and feelings from all over the place, different parallel universes. You are also very connected to this, whatchamacallit, other you. And so you communicate with each other all the time. You may not realize it. You could just think that you're talking with yourself, but actually, a lot of times you're talking with this other you. Well, your other you is a very sensual person, we'll just put it that way. And I see a bird, butterfly, two birds. So maybe those images resonate with you. I don't know why I'm drawn to the crystal on the far left corner of the video. And for some reason, the camera is showing it to be like sort of like a super smooth top, which reminds me of it being like melted, like smooth curves and waves, and through it looks like water. So something with water. It's like you're about to transform this lifetime. You're like a swan. You're about to become this beautiful water being. Like you're like a water bird, like a swan. Maybe that is your totem animal. Maybe you should look up swan as well. Maybe Swan Lake, something to do with the ballet, or Tchaikovsky, the music. Like, do any of these mentions resonate with you somehow? You are very connected to the water, to the element of water. You're very connected to the element of water. And you should explore this connection because it's a beautiful connection. I believe that water helps to heighten your abilities, also just your mood in general when you're in or around water. So it's interesting because it's really hard to place your other self. Like, they're all over the place. They don't want to settle on one thing. What I'm feeling almost is that your other you has decided to just continually skip timelines and parallel realities and just experiment. And because time just functions differently in different places, it could be maybe 10 years for them somewhere, and then for us it's just like a millisecond that passes by. So it's very hard to track who they are, your other you. There are many things. They can even split themselves. Like they've been able to manipulate the timeline and create more parallel selves. It's like, it's insane. And you may feel like you have a very wired energy, or like you're tired a lot. It's because your other you is practically doing cartwheels through timelines and parallel realities, and you're either super jazzed all the time and energized, or you're like tired and exhausted, or you're a mixture between A and B. But there's something about you where you're just like, oh my god, why am I so moody, or why am I so, and the moodiness also has to do with this. Of course, like I said, take what resonates. You also might need just simply more sleep. But, I think everything's kind of related. That's how I view it. I think it's all a domino effect. You're very connected to this other you. And sometimes your other you, okay. Sometimes your other you aligns with you so that they kind of like experience how it is to be you while you're being you. And so it's just like, you may feel like in those moments that your energy is like extra those days. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe you're dropping things, or maybe like electricity is not working around you, or computers are glitching and things like that, and you're like, what's going on? And it could be that just like there's too much energy within your reality, within your space, where your other you is kind of totally encompassing and tapping into your energy to just like kind of experience you. And I can tell you what this other you thinks, but I kind of want you to just enjoy a little bit of a moment of quiet and mindfulness and meditation with this other you, to ask them maybe what they think it's like to be you, or why do they like to do the things that they do. I don't know. Just go ahead, go have fun, And I will channel through some messages for you in just a moment. So your other you is, they like the contrast of just like flying about the universe, so to speak, sometimes, and then just like entering into your life and just kind of having like this very pragmatic, down to earth 3D world experience. It's kind of akin, the way they're describing it, it's like when you're a kid and you like to play with toys or like create stories or play make believe or imagine yourself as someone else, or play a role in a play, even like if you like plays and you like theater. So it's kind of like that role-playing element of fun, or you like to play with a dollhouse or whatever. So they feel very much like it's just a lot of fun, and they enjoy your experience. They're kind of confused at times, actually, as to why you don't always enjoy your experience. And they're coming more and more to the realization that they may just be also a little too intense, and they may take for granted that they're kind of having the more fun end of the bargain, if you will. They totally recognize that. And not to say that they're not experiencing their own challenges, that they don't experience their own challenges. They're just acknowledging your struggles in comparison to theirs. And they're very empathetic of you, and learning to empathize more and more. That's now the other reason why they're coming around. So you may notice that you're just, instead of like having things glitch around you, you may be able to control that and manage that more, the more in tune you are with this energy. You're kind of invited to experience this like double existence with them, where you experience what they experience in a more like organized way, if you will, and they experience what you experience, in order to just like really connect with you and become whole, and really empathize with your feelings and understand where you're coming from. It helps them to understand a little bit better and evolve and grow as well. And then, you are your best friend, right? So basically, this is quality time spent with yourself. So, yeah, those are really beautiful messages, number 4. Surprisingly beautiful messages there. So, yeah, they're inviting you to just kind of talk with them for a moment right now, to ask them, how to tap into their energy without it kind of draining yours. All right, so take a moment to tune in. It's just such a wonderful sense of humor your other you has, I feel. Like, just have this amazing way of enjoying life. Your other you might also be a lot older than you, which is why they might act like a mentor in a way. But they're definitely trying to help you. Now they really understand a little bit better. So they're not necessarily older. Some may be, some may not be. There's just a wise old energy about this other you. Not that you don't have it, but you're kind of learning to master it, where they're kind of at a different level, but they take for granted some of your experiences. So that's what they're kind of doing right now, is humbling themselves and just empathizing with you, and then learning to help you see the joy in your everyday as well. Because they have a lot of fun. They just want to help you to see the fun as well. And we forget, as we grow, as we age and we grow older, we forget to see the fun in life. So it gets harder sometimes. And sometimes it was maybe never really easy, but it's important to find ways to do that. It's really important. So, yeah, they're there to help you do that. Beautiful. I would say, definitely spend more time in nature. I'm getting drink tea. For a lot of you, you might like to drink tea. Maybe you drink too much coffee. Maybe you should try to drink more decaffeinated teas. So just to kind of relax and focus without adding more crazy alertedness to your energy. You may need it every now and then, of course, but try to find more natural ways to energize your body. Eat fresh vegetables and fruits, and try to get outside if you can, and maybe take a walk around, or if you like jogging or anything. You have to take care of yourself as well. Spend time in nature, and try to focus on the simple things in life. When your brain is going all over the place, try to just focus on what's right in front of you, what you're doing, the conversation someone's having with you. Try to just focus on the simple things in life if you can. And if you just allow everything else to coexist, and you simply shift your focus on what matters, or what's right in front of you, or what you're focusing on, what you need to focus on, then I think that you'll find that it's okay if the other things exist, so long as, you get to be in the moment as well. That's interesting. It's about it for your messages. As far as tapping into who some of those other selves of, you have many other selves to you. So I invite you to just kind of find different meditations online, or just do your own meditation. And I can do a purely meditation video next time if you'd like. We can work on that. And I can link it to psychic abilities. I'll see how that can kind of link up. And yeah, so just enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening. And I hope that you enjoyed the video and the messages and the connection with your other you. I look forward to reading for you in another video. Have a wonderful rest of whatever you're experiencing.